Good evening, Santa Monica, and welcome to the Thursday, July 2022 meeting of the Santa Monica City Council. May we have a roll call vote, please? Roll call, I'm sorry, please.
That's okay. Councilmember De La Torre, is he still on the line? Okay. Councilmember Brock?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McCollum?
Here.
Councilmember Negrete?
Here.
Councilmember Davis?
Here.
Councilmember Para?
Here.
And Mayor Himmerich?
Here. Great, and Madam Clerk, may we have our first item, please?
Yeah, so the first and our only item is introduction and adoption of an emergency ordinance to amend Santa Monica Municipal Code, Section 4.08.780, to promote the public safety and welfare by prohibiting certain items at public assemblies and community events. And we're having a staff report, I believe, from the police department.
So shall we announce the lines are open? Do we have any callers?
We don't have any callers and we're having a difficulty connecting. But the lines are open, but we're having a difficulty connecting into the meeting. But we don't have any callers. So go ahead and do the staff report.
We don't know if anybody, wait, Denise, I'm sorry, I'm a little concerned. So we don't have any callers now, but do we know whether we have any attempted callers? I mean, no one's told me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't have any attempted callers waiting in the queue, but we're having Esther's having a difficulty logging into Blue Jays.
I hear you. Well, let's have our staff report and maybe
let's have the staff report.
Okay, good. And maybe during that time, we can figure out the calling in issue. Up, hi, Birdie. Hi, guys.
Good afternoon, council members.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Deputy Chief Jacob. How's everyone doing tonight?
We're great, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I apologize for not being on camera. I actually was going to do this meeting at home and ended up getting stuck in traffic, so I'm a little out. But I wanted to make sure that I kick this meeting off. I want to thank you all for being here and for considering the emergency ordinance for a prohibitive item. Acting Captain Sal Lucio will be on the line. He's going to give you guys a brief introduction to the ordinance, which you've already heard before, and kind of show you some things about that we have seen in the past few weeks since our ordinance has lapsed. Acting Captain Lucio.
Are we waiting for someone else?
We're waiting for Sergeant, is it Sergeant or Captain Lucio? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to demote or promote you, but
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry about that.
There you are.
Had a little bit of a glitch there. Sorry.
Great. So.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Chief, and good evening. And thank you, council and staff, for your time and consideration in this matter. As DC Jacob indicated, I'm the acting captain of our Special Operations Division, and I've been an officer with the Santa Monica Police Department going on 27 years. I've worked in all of our 4 divisions, operations, investigations, special operations, and admin, working a variety of assignments such as patrol watch commander, robbery homicide, internal affairs, and SWAT, to name a few. And I've been involved with the response to thousands of high-risk incidents, as well as several hundred protests throughout my career. And on behalf of the Chief of Police, the Deputy Chief, my colleagues, and all of our collective experiences, we've never seen this type of violence and propensity for violence in or about protests in our careers. So I'll now cover some of the context and history and reasons for our concerns in regard to this ordinance. First and foremost, the Santa Monica Police Department supports peaceful protests and the free speech and assembly of rights of those engaged in expressive activities under the First Amendment of the United States. Our mission is to protect the public and welfare of those individuals who attend these events, as well as bystanders, residents, and businesses, as well as facilitate free speech. But our position is that we must ban certain items that do not serve an expressive purpose and based on time, place, and manner of use in these environments. Past history in general, over the last few years, we've all seen a significant increase in protest activities locally and regionally. Some of these protests have erupted in violence against police and the community and have directly affected local residents, at times spilling into neighborhoods, as well as impacting businesses. Over time, we've seen an increase in counter protesters, and what that means is, in other words, when there's a group organized themselves to protest with a desire to be heard on a particular issue, they're now being countered by other groups. And as a result, this is causing the imminent threat of violence to occur in these environments and spaces. As those events and clashes continue, so has the level of retribution, causing these groups to become organized, sophisticated, and equipped for some retaliation. Last year, in the previous approved emergency ordinance, a snapshot was submitted of local, regional, and national information, which included Charlottesville, Berkeley, Laguna Beach, and Los Angeles. In those areas, they experienced dangerous situations with certain items being used as improvised weapons and were granted a prohibited items ordinance. And at the time, going back to August 24th of last year, we were planning to address a protest event against vaccination and mask mandates and anticipated counter-protesters from the Southern California Antifa, and that's why we had submitted. Well, in this case, I submit, as of now, none of this has really subsided, and we're in the same situation as the recent past. So our current situation, let me pull up some photos here, do a screen share, bear with me. See those photos?
No.
No.
Are you, so you see, you may need to be a co-host to put them up. Does he have proper permissions, Denise?
He actually shared earlier. Are you under share content?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I see it now.
There we go. Sorry about that.
And can you make it bigger? If you hit good, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that. So our current situation, following the Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe versus Wade this last month on the 24th of June, protests and violence ensued in many cities throughout the country, and then also including downtown Los Angeles. Fortunately, none here locally. However, on July 9th, here in Santa Monica, a Baby Lives Matter rally with an anti-abortion message was advertised to take place in Palisades Park. Activist groups and individuals on various social media platforms began to highlight the event, calling in counter-protesters to this event. Discussions on social media transitioned to threats of violence the night before with these extremists. And on the day, there were numerous attendees wearing load-bearing vests, large backpacks, gloves with reinforced knuckles. See these? They were also wearing a full face coverings for anonymity and holding, and folded and fixed blade knives. A few counter protesters actually showed up to the event. However, the ones that did, they were carrying umbrellas with no chance of rain. Incidentally, these umbrellas are often used as concealment and prevent law enforcement crowd control measures and are often used as shields. This past weekend, on the 16th, a Patriot Pride event was held at Palisades Park. Though there was no advertised anti-abortion message, through intel we learned that 2 counter-protest groups plan to demonstrate against and confront the Patriot Pride group, offering differing views on abortion. One of the counter-protest groups, named By Any Means Necessary, BAM for short, was accompanied by at least 15 individuals who were dressed in all black as a unit. And so many of these individuals were wearing face coverings, goggles, load-bearing vests, large backpacks, the same reinforced knuckle gloves, carrying knives, large canisters of bear spray, aka pepper spray, large wooden staffs, and umbrellas. This group moved in pairs on the promenade, stationed lookouts on either side of the block where the protest rally occurred. This group also hastily responded as a unit, using tactics to arrive to Palisades Park and forming an umbrella skirmish line directly across the police skirmish line in aggressive offensive posture. Although there were no acts of violence at these events, numerous situations had to be interdicted and were deterred due to heavy law enforcement presence. So this is the BAM group here. Going backwards here, sorry. As mentioned, they're carrying knives, the knuckle gloves, the protection over their knuckles, knuckle reinforced gloves. Under these shirts, these individuals were actually wearing ballistic body armor. Our agency and our city is mindful of all COVID protocols and whatnot, and so however, just to note, these extremist groups are anti COVID protocols and about medical freedoms, but yet they're wearing masks for the anonymity aspect. This particular photo was taken in front of the Nike store, and this is a business impact here. Nike, we provided some communication prior to this event, and Nike on their own hired some security folks that stood as sentries in front of their business. No one went in there during this entire time frame as those folks flooded this. But these are the Patriot Pride folks. They're affiliates and they're essentially Proud Boys, and here in our city and showing up to these events. This individual is equipped with radio. They use tactics, video, all those type of things to document what they're doing. This was out on social media. This individual was carrying a knife. He was involved in a confrontation, what we initially thought was a confrontation with an individual. As it turns out, it was a friend of his, and they were doing some horseplaying. We made contact with him, and he really, are the type of things that they're carrying. This is the group of individuals as mentioned with the umbrellas, wearing masks and so forth, fully equipped with ballistic body armor, helmets, and so forth. This group of individuals here was out on the promenade exercising their First Amendment rights of free speech. However, they are an opposing view, and they confronted a religious individual preacher who was also doing the same thing, exercising his First Amendment rights, talking about God, and they were upset, and they confronted him. And so these are the type of things that they're doing. This video speaks for itself. I'll go and cue it up. the video taken just after the 24th of June, or on June 24th rather, after the Supreme Court decision. And this was not a peaceful protest, as seen obvious. And one of the individuals there on the bottom left was using an aerosol canister and a lighter and used it as a flamethrower and injured an officer there on scene. They were also using fireworks as mortars against the officers, and other of these prohibited items were there on scene, again, to incite this violence and confrontation in those environments. This is the group of individuals that I mentioned that were in Santa Monica, that were in Palisades Park on July 16th. They were initially out on the promenade with the preacher, making contact with him, but there was some buzz going around that there was a confrontation. There were the opposing group against the Patriot Pride folks that were in Palisades Park. So they were in the 1300 block of the promenade, and they ran dressed like that with all that equipment. Well, shoppers and people were out and about on the promenade, and then assembled as a unit and converged there on scene. So it's a little bit of a backstory. I don't have the video of that. Just some quick videos depicting that theme. So further back onto the ordinance, and it's truly a preventative measure for us, and a tool, as mentioned on other occasions, and falls directly in line with our agency's approach to constitutional policing by allowing us to be proactive through transparent means and treating all groups fairly and equitably. Of note, during the 8-month period that we had that ordinance, we averaged about one large-scale protest a month and contacted numerous individuals in those environments, some of them with prohibited items, and everyone was compliant. There were no arrests made during this time frame. So again, it's a tool, it's preventative. It allows us to be proactive, do some messaging on social media, print media, interviews. And on the day, we use signs and signage in or about the areas or that space to notify folks, to inform them what they obviously is prohibited and what they cannot bring into that environment. And the officers also stop and talk to these individuals, and like I said, most of the times they were compliant with no issue. So it serves as a strong deterrent and a preventative measure of note, equally important. It allows us to also address our officer fatigue and burnout by minimizing the volume of these events, because oftentimes we're seeing that individuals are coming out here to find the stage to create this scene for the notoriety, for their position, and for their extremist mentality. And it's causing our officers a great amount of burnout as well. So and this tool would allow us to have a position advantage in these situations. In closing, I'd like to add an approval of this ordinance is paramount to public safety during a time that we do not see these things and events subsiding. As a matter of fact, we anticipate increase significantly as we head into the midterm elections soon. Also, while the January 6th committee hearings are going on, and then leading into an increased political energy and differences as we head into the 2024 presidential campaign season. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Question?
Captain Lucio. So let me, Madam Clerk, still no callers, right?
Still no callers, but we are connected. The phone number is 3.
But no callers. So, so
I'd like to move approval. I'd like to move approval of this ordinance.
I second. Any comments? Let's have a roll call vote.
Councilmember Parra,
Yes.
I see your bubble. Councilmember Parra, there you go.
I said yes. I'm sorry, my camera's not going on. Thank you. Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Negrete,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McCowen,
Yes.
Councilmember Brock,
Yes.
Councilmember De La Torre,
Yes.
and Mayor Himmelrich.
Yes, so that passes unanimously. And our next meeting is Tuesday, July 26th at 5:30 p.m. We'll see everybody there. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.